What's up, Hornets? My name's Matthew, and I'm here with a new segment on What's Buzzin', Club Corner, where we get to discuss some of our clubs with the members here at Bishop Moore. Today, I'm joined by Paige, Juliana, and Clay, here representing the BMC Hippocratic Society, our science club on campus. So, Juliana, you are our president, so tell us a little bit about what happens in a Hippocratic Society.
So the Hippocratic Society, we foster an environment where we get to learn more about the art of medicine and everything science. So we do suture labs, phlebotomy labs, all types of labs, and we also do like donation drives, and we make cards, and those will be sent to the Philippines through my nonprofit, the Tomorrow Project. And Clay, do you want to talk more about what else you do?
Yeah, so this year we're going to be introducing a guest lecture series where we partner with doctors from various places like Orlando Health and Advent Health and get them to essentially come on in and talk about what they do, why they do it, and how, and just really expose us to the field, get us more connections, and really just like flesh out our understanding of medicine.
And we offer tons of opportunities for our students, and we really believe that it will help them in the long run if they do hope to pursue a career in the medical field.
Okay. And you guys say some things like suturing and phlebotomy. For like me, I'm not really a science guy myself. So can you guys elaborate on what that is and how it's important to the medical field?
Yeah.
So a suture lab is when someone gets a cut, and we just practice on fake skin, and we just practice how to stitch it up basically. And yesterday and a week ago, I'm pretty sure, right? We did it, and then our last one is going to be next week on the 29th, and it's actually going to be a competition, and whoever gets the most votes on Instagram, we're going to post it, is going to win something, which we haven't discussed yet, but we will put that out.
It's a surprise.
Soon. Yes, it's a surprise.
Bragging rights.
Yes, bragging rights.
Yeah, we also offer phlebotomy labs. Phlebotomy is like blood work, so that'll be like your IVs or IOs, which is like a bone drill to get into blood. And it's essentially just like all for emergent care. So that'll be like a very bad accident happens to you. What do you do? And this will be the basis for getting like a trauma care certification or a emergent first aid certification, which our captains do tend to have.
Okay.
We also do like first aid labs, like as he mentioned, like emergent bleeding. We basically learned how to stuff like an arterial bleed or like this big wound that you need to stop bleeding right away. So it's very helpful in both real life and emergency situations.
Okay. You guys seem to know a lot about your scientific stuff and
Thank you.
and suturing, phlebotomy, and all that. For each of you, how is this club helping you and driving you along the way, especially to help you learn things like that you wouldn't necessarily learn in a Bishop Moore class on campus?
So, for me, I never like really knew how to like suture, for example, since we're like on that topic. But in like I knew what it was, but I didn't know like the complexities of it. Like I didn't know like how to like do the first knot and like the ending knot. But in Hippocratic, that kind of taught me like how to do that. And not just that, Hippocratic also just teaches you more about the medical field, and it shows you how fun it is, kind of, because like I know it can seem kind of daunting, like science and the like medical field and like that type of stuff, but this club can like really show like students how it can be fun, like it can make them like appreciate also like the stuff that our like doctors and nurses have to go through to help us and other people.
Yeah, so for me, it's really important to have medicine really humanized, but it's also like about getting a community of people passionate about the same things that you are. So it's just kind of like, for me, one, it's groundwork for like some of the summer programs that I'm applying to. Like when I got there, like I was able to actually hit the ground running and like help some of the other people in the program, which was really, really cool. And it also provides me like a community in medicine, which kind of like gives me motivation moving forward into hopefully my future career.
Okay.
So on top of all of the opportunities we get, this club and the experience we get looks really great on a college resume. Because if you want to get into medical school, or in my case, pre-vet school, it's helpful when they're looking at your resume to see that you already have some experience going into it. Like, you know the basics of suturing, maybe not the complexities like you mentioned, but like the basics of how to suture, how to tie the knot, the basics of how to work a needle, and your ways around certain medical processes.
Okay, well, that's really great to hear. Yes, it definitely helped you guys, as you just said. So, from what I've heard, you guys had an outstanding turnout at your interest meeting, and you might have a record amount of people in the club at the moment. That's at least the rumors I've been hearing. So, with Hippocratic Society obviously getting bigger, what's the ultimate goal of the program?
Our ultimate goal is to nurture a community where we can just all appreciate and learn from each other, medicine and science, and like everything is a learning journey. Like no one can be like the master of anything. So I feel like it's just collaboration, teamwork, and just understanding and getting to learn with each other about like medical field.
Okay.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think it's about fostering a community here at Bishop Moore where we can all like have something in common and help each other through that.
Yeah, and like just to add to that, we really do our best to create an environment where like the students feel comfortable learning how to suture. They feel comfortable making mistakes. Like if you break a needle in a suture lab, it's okay because you're learning. And we really want them to feel comfortable learning because it really will help them in the long run, and being nervous while they're learning it isn't helping at all.
Yeah.
So we as the officers and we as a club, we really build a sense of community between each other.
Wonderful to hear. And last but not least, at the beginning, we were talking about suturing, fluidotomy, and also some projects that were going on. And again, Hippocratic Society is growing bigger every year that we have it here at BMC. So what are the plans for the future with the ultimate goal in mind?
So regarding next week, I think I've talked about this, but we're doing a contest for our final suture lab where like the winner will get something, which will be discussed later. But we're also planning more guest lecture series. So we're hopefully gonna get on board with that. The Advent Health and Orlando Health field trips.
Yeah, we have field trips every year that we go over to Advent Health, and they kind of tour us around the hospital and the college campus, and we talk to real doctors in their cardiology lab last year. I think it was gastroenterology like 2 or 3 years ago, and we kind of rotate around and they show us what they do and like some of their materials and equipment.
So you guys are able to explore different fields.
Yeah.
And the students like actually get to scrub up and go into like these sanitary rooms where there's these different pieces of technology that both new and old that really have made huge innovations in medicine, which is incredible to see and experience. So yeah.
We're also planning on donation drives and card making, and as I've mentioned, like those will go to my nonprofit called the Tomorrow Project, Training Minds and Reshaping Worlds, which is based in the Philippines. So I've chosen to partner up with the Hippocratic because I feel like it's such a good vessel to connect, because ultimately I feel like Hippocratic is it's humanitarian, like medical is humanitarian. It's meant to help people, and especially in the Philippines there are so many like less fortunate and needy people there, and I feel like with our opportunities and resources we can help those people like just to live like a better life, and not just them too. Like we're planning like so many other stuff like around here and just in the area.
Yeah, like we send cards to a nursing home last year?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And we also are introducing a guest lecture series, which he mentioned earlier. Back in September, we hosted Father Spitzer, who talked about how faith coincides with science, and that was a really awesome experience for us, the sponsors and the students. We learned a lot, and his presentation was great.
And we got to eat lunch with them too, so it was really cool.
And we're looking forward to hosting more and more that talk about different aspects of medicine and science. Do you want to talk about like other labs we've planned?
Yeah, so we've already mentioned suturing and phlebotomy, which are like doctor stitching and blood work. We also have an emergent trauma care lab, which is like excessive bleeding. How do you stop it? Like an arterial bleed, or like a big cut, or a really bad broken bone. Like until the ambulance gets there, what can you do? We also have a blood pressure lab, how to take manual blood pressure without a machine. And it's not really outdated because like a lot of machines, especially in underfunded areas, are calibrated wrong to where, so they have red lights, and red lights reflect off melanin, which means that it's not as effective against minorities, like people with darker skin. So manual blood pressure is the only way to actually effectively treat these people, especially when you don't have the funding for this kind of thing. So we prepare our people for that. And I think we also did a bracing lab at one point, where it's like if you sprain your ankle or do something nasty to your knee, you know how to like fix it with just like some cloth or a shirt or whatever.
And we're also talking about hosting diagnosis labs where we present the students with a set of symptoms and they have to try and diagnose a patient. So they basically play the role of a doctor, which I know we do in the biomedical class. Looking forward to that unit. And we're also looking to increase the amount of student shadowings for the athletic trainers who come out to sports games and make sure our players are kept safe. So that's soccer games, football games, any sporting event that runs the risk of people getting hurt. So yeah.
All right, so you guys are obviously the forefront of the club, as well as two officers who were unable to join us today. But how do you guys plan on using this experience and taking it into your career fields in the future?
So I've always had an appreciation for dermatology, especially last year. I was struggling with eczema, which I'd never had before, so it was very new to me. And whenever I'd go to Hippocratic, I kind of had something else to focus my mind on, and it was still related to like what I was struggling with, because dermatology, you know, like sciencey. And it also kind of like was feeding my brain more, but also besides that, I had a community to connect with. And so it like fostered my love and made it grow more. So I'm a senior, and hopefully next year I get to major in something pre-med and hopefully go to med school and become a dermatologist myself.
Okay. Yeah, so I want to go into molecular neuroscience, studying the mechanisms that underlie consciousness, which is a really, really fancy way of saying I want to know how a stupid, dumb function of a computer can turn out into a mind. And there's so little that we know about it, and like everyone experiences it, so I think it's like crazy that we haven't done that. And the way I want to do that is by combining quantum mechanics with molecular neuroscience to see if macroscale orchestrated objective reduction can give rise to consciousness.
Okay.
I've wanted to pursue a career in veterinary medicine for the longest time, and the Hippocratic Society is a place to ask questions. It's a place to be curious. It's a place to learn more about what you want to do with your life, especially in the medical field. I've asked our sponsors, shout out to Miss B.
Yeah, Miss B.
Yes. Like hundreds of questions, like regarding the processes that go on and how they relate to animals. And it's a place to be curious. And I appreciate that because it's different than asking them in your regular old science classroom. They go into detail and they show you how to do things. They don't just tell you, they explain it to you. And it's really incredible, and it's an amazing resource that we have and that we're privileged to have access to. And on top of the learning how to literally suture, it's incredible. So yeah.
It really is.
Okay. Well, that's going to wrap things up. Thank you all for your time, Juliana, Clay,
Yeah.
Paige. Yes, we've learned a lot about the Hippocratic Society today. If you guys are interested, go see Mrs. Bonciella, whom is your club sponsor, or any of these three wonderful people beside me. And if you guys are interested in Club Corner, make sure to stop by the studio for What's Buzzin' and Horner Productions. And we'll get you in a podcast like this, and you'll be able to just like these three, tell you about their club and what makes it so great. Thank you guys for watching. My name's Matthew, and have a great day, Bishop Moore.